Working on this panel here, and this is going to be kind of the main control panel when you come into the van. So this is going to be the on-off switch and the dimmer control for the majority of the ceiling lights. Then we're going to have a switch for the bathroom shower light, a switch for over the sink, and a switch for a single light at the front. So if you come into the van, you don't want to turn on all the lights, you can turn on one light and there will be a front set of lights that come on. Then I have a 12 volt USB. So it's the standard USB plug to charge your cell phones and whatnot. And another one that is the push-in type 12 volt, forever what's needed for that. And then I have a 110 volt connection run off the inverter or coming in from the main power supply. This particular socket is connected to a series of plugs with a GFI grounding, so it's going to be a safe plug. And then higher up here, let me just adjust the camera. And higher up here is going to be the panel for the inverter. And that's what I'm working on right now. So that's going to be attached in here, but that's not quite finished yet. I need to glue it in. What I wanted to do in the van is make sure there were no wire splices, particularly 12 volt wire splices, anywhere in the build that wouldn't be accessible. So instead of running a single wire through the roof and splicing the lights onto it for a parallel connection, I ran in every single light on its own wire and ran it back to this terminal block. So here are all the positive wires from the lights in the ceiling, and here are all the negative connections for the lights in the ceiling. So they're all hooked up in parallel. Also, this is the feed that's coming in from the battery system, and then that will feed the power to the lights either through dimmer switches or on-off switches that are located in the panel here in the front. I also reinstalled the factory light that comes on when you open the door, and I moved it from its original location and mounted it in the ceiling or in this sideboard here. Up in here is going to be where my inverter controller is going to come through the back, and it has a communication port that needs to be wired from the controls back to the inverter. So I thought it would be very handy to have it up front, so when you're leaving the van you can check to make sure your inverter is off, or you can turn it on conveniently. In order to strengthen this section in here, I made up a little wood structure all held together with pocket hole screws and a hole in the plate that allow the communication cable to run through. So it's going to fit up in here. It's a very tight fit. And I'm going to clamp it and glue it and clamp it into place. So let's get this glued up. Okay, I just glued up the base here. Put it in there. And I'm going to clamp it into place. And that glue is supposed to be a 10-minute dry, so that'll be interesting.